You know, New York is losing over 100,000 people every single year. They're fleeing our state. They're leaving because they don't see opportunity. If you're a grandfather, a father, a mother, an aunt, a friend, you're watching your people who you care about, leave this state to find opportunity someplace else. The answer that I always hear is, well, we need more money to be put into these projects here, and that'll make things happen.
What is it actually? It is a way for our elites in this state to reward their friends with jobs yet again, where the corporations actually write the laws and regulations to make sure the little guy can't survive. I want community to make this work, not taxpayer dollars. We can make it better. We can build things again in New York. Of course, locally we can. Thank you.
We have to create a new environment in New York State, a new culture in government. No more stepping in, no more New York losing, no more old money, no more old New York. We need a new New York.
Yes, indeed. It is time for a new New York. It's a little bit after 7 p.m. on the East Coast. Thank you so much for checking in with this talk, this update. And there's a lot going on. I put that video together. The team did, I should say, not me. Team put that video together months ago, based off of all the things that I've said as I've crossed this state for the past literally 5 years. As you know, I have taken this very seriously. I don't work anymore. I just try to do this. I try to work on making things better. I tried my best to make coalitions to make things work. But I want to start to let you know that I'm going to be giving you both good news and bad news, both of those, good news and bad news. There is some bad news. I have always tried my best to be as transparent as I can possibly be with you all so that you know, even when things go poorly, that I'm not going to shy away from it. So the first thing I want to do, as I always do whenever things go poorly with the campaign, and they have many times, is take responsibility. So the first thing I'm going to say is I'm sorry. I'm sorry the campaign has not gone as well as I wish it could have gone. I do apologize for that. No matter what, it does fall upon my shoulders. So I take it that it's on me. I get that. And I apologize to so many of you who expected more of this campaign. So did I. From what I learned from 2018, and we made lots of mistakes in 2018, a lot of them. Of course, we did. But we learned from them, right? And I know the team, those of you who are still with me, we've learned from them. And the one thing we didn't have to worry about in 2018, of all the problems that we had, and we had many of them, the thing we didn't have to worry about was ballot access. We only had to get 15,000 signatures. My volunteers back then got 19,000 on their own. Plus, we had paid volunteers that only had to get, I think, 12 or 13,000. So we doubled the amount we needed. No problem whatsoever. I did very little work back then to get ballot access. That was done mostly by the LPNY. It was so good. Mostly done by them. I did a little bit, but they did most of it. And I was out campaigning. You remember me. So I wasn't that concerned. So now when it came to this next one, I thought it would be tough. I did. But I assumed we'd still be able to handle it because if I got 19,000 the first time, I'll get double that this time, right? No. Sadly for us, and those of you who are kind of deep in the libertarian world will understand this. Some of you won't, but sadly, so many people did not show up to my campaign this time that I wanted them to. Some because they were busy and had work. Many of them because in 2020, the presidential candidate back then didn't take my team, so they didn't have work in 2020. So they began to go their own ways and do the things, and they weren't prepared for 2022. Some of them for that reason. Some because of our stupid civil war in the Libertarian Party decided Larry's a bad guy or I hate libertarians or whatever they decided, and they packed them and left when I needed them most. Some of them did that too. What are you going to do? That happened. I didn't expect that. I thought I'd have the great team I have now, plus all the other people who I was counting on. I didn't. So I tried to make things work without it. I also thought I'd get more money from National. That didn't work. Almost all of my alliances, which I realized, which in the long run I was correct, but it didn't matter if I was correct, that we needed to have coalitions to work together to get in the ballot. I offered coalitions to the Conservative Party. I offered coalitions to the Green Party. I offered coalitions to the Forward Party, Working. I offered coalitions to all of them. They all told me no. Unite Party, they all told me no. They all just would not do it. And now they're all off the ballot. They're all gone. The conservatives are still on for now, but conservatives got on. And then here's the next piece. As I fought to get in the ballot, some of you don't realize this. In the last day, literally the last day, as I was trying to put together all of the signatures, we literally did not count the ballots. I'm not making this up. There were witnesses in the room. We put everything together and rushed them out to the best of our ability. 5,200 sheets, assuming we had over 50,000, because 10 per sheet is 52,000. So we assume we had more than 50,000. Put them in. I was literally 5 minutes before they closed. They closed the door behind me. We submitted them. Life is good. Move on. And then the Conservative Party decided, run by a guy named Jerry Kassar, who runs the Conservative Party. He decided he didn't want me on the ballot. So his party decided to sue me to throw me off the ballot. I'm not making this up. We've sued 4 or 5 times before this even happened. We knew this was impossible and difficult, so that's why we tried to make coalitions and raise more money and all the things to do. And boy, they didn't care. So the Republicans are behind this, and the Conservative Party is behind this. So that's who's behind suing us to get off the ballot. And it is what it is. They did what they did, whatever it is. But just to be clear, for all you conservatives out there, I offered a coalition. They said, no, we'd rather attack you and throw you off the ballot. And that's fine. So they did that. We went to court. It isn't the Conservative Party that I'm so upset with. It's the judges. The judges have, in the past, before our most recent response, in the past, have just blatantly been against us. We've told them that it is impossible. No, it isn't. They said things like, it's reasonable. Anyone could reasonably do it. I want to be clear. If you have any reasonable support, I poll about 6% when you average multiple different polls from different polling services. I average between 5 and 7%. That's not enough, right? Polling at 5%, I would have to pull it 25%. I have to be a TV star, but that's what they said. So if you have a modicum of support, that's their words, you should be fine. I raised $300,000 to get in the ballot. That's not good enough. It isn't. So once we fought those battles, and the Judge Coltle, I think is his name, horrible judge, an embarrassment as a judge. He should be removed. The guy from Steuben County, I showed up at his courtroom and he said I couldn't talk. I came from New York City to Steuben County and that judge wouldn't let me speak. Another terrible judge. They're all worthy of impeachment. That's how bad. They supported the state over the people multiple times. So you might say, well, Larry, maybe they believe it to be true. Maybe. So just recently, some of you know, we were in court for my most recent lawsuit, trying to get it on a ballot. Again, the Conservative Party is going out of their way to sue. They brought their lawyers in. They're going to sue us. Got it. They want to make sure the Board of Elections throws us off the ballot because they were worried that maybe the Board of Elections might realize they made an error, and they did. The Board of Elections did not give me a hearing. They just threw me off the ballot, and they're not supposed to. That's blatantly wrong. They did it anyway because the Democrats, Republicans, they want to make sure that no one else is on the ballot. Even at the Board of Elections, they're corrupt too. Yes, I said it. I don't care if you're mad at me, Board of Elections. You're terrible. You should also be embarrassed by who you are. But you did it. Done. We go to court, and I tell the judge, look, my argument here is it can't be done. A sitting congressman couldn't do it. A multimillionaire couldn't do it. It cannot be done. What does he say? Well, too bad. Tells no to everything. Judge Dave Weinstein. Wow, you're a terrible judge. You should also be impeached. All of those judges literally chose the state and the government over the people. My argument again and again and again, and for you listening, anyone listening, is what is the harm of putting me on the ballot? What's the harm? You can just not vote for me. Literally millions of New Yorkers did that last time. They can do it again. There is no harm. What is the harm in right now, as it stands, right now, only 2 people being on the ballot, no independent candidate. Every single election, about 500,000 New Yorkers vote independent or third party. They're all disenfranchised. You just disenfranchised the population of Wyoming. You think the judges care? No. Well, there's precedent. Take the precedent and shove it up your ass. There's a precedent that where no one can vote. There's a precedent to where only landowners could vote, where only males could vote. Do we follow that precedent now? I don't think we do. You're an embarrassment. But that's what happened. We got our decision just last week, and the decision was no to everything. You're off the ballot. So as of today, officially, Conservative Party, congrats. You have won. Mr. Kassar, well done. You have thrown me off the ballot. So I am officially off the ballot as of now. I know some of you are upset about that. I know. That's the bad news I had to give you. We are officially thrown off the ballot. Here is the good news. I'm still polling at 6%, 7%. Even though I've been thrown off the ballot, I'm still polling at 6 and 7% off the ballot. It is insane. So what are we going to do? I'm not going to stop. So we have two options here, which I'm going to take both options here. Option number one, we're going to appeal again. And I'm using our great lawyer, Gary Denoyan, who just did an amazing job. I cannot say enough good about him. He has really done a good job here. And he's going to help us out and quarterback this. And we're going to try again. We're going to do another appeal. We have another shot. We're going to appeal again. And you might say, well, Larry, what are the odds? I'm going to be very forward with you all. The odds are not great. However, Gary's done this before. He actually got somebody on the ballot to be on the ballot as late as October 20th. He has done it before. So if anyone's going to take us to the promised land, we got the right guy to do it, right? So if someone's going to do it, we got the right guy to do it. So we are going to do that. That's going to cost me a bunch of cash. It's going to cost 5 figures, as it always does. And to be forward with you, one of the reasons why I haven't been out campaigning so much, the campaign's in debt. Why? It cost over $300,000 to get in the ballot, which I didn't get on even yet. So if we win our appeal, I hope we will. It'll be several weeks before we know we will be on the ballot. Awesome. If we win, I hope we win. The odds are not high, but if we do, we've got the right team to make it happen. So that's the good news. But I think we want to push a write-in campaign anyway right now. We want to push a write-in because even if I lose, I'm not done. I'm not done. They are not going to stop me from doing this. We are going to push on. And if we have to, we will do a write-in campaign. You're saying, Larry, how the hell you know write-in campaign? I know you're thinking that. But let me give you 3 things that are good news for that. While that would be tough. Number one, if we start the write-in campaign now and we all start doing it now, talking about it now, if we get on the ballot, bonus, life is good. You don't have to write me in anymore. I'm on the ballot. Life is good. But we've got to push forward in case we lose this thing. The second thing is the current mayor of Buffalo, New York State's second largest city, won with a write-in campaign. So we have precedent of it actually working in New York State. It can work. It will be challenging. Now here's the next piece. But Larry, with a write-in, can you get in debates? Can you have a chance at victory? Well, I'm being forward with you as I always am. If we don't get into debates, the odds of victory are slim to none. Being forward with you. The odds, if we don't get in debates. If we get on the ballot in October or September, October, which I'm hoping that we can do, we'll see if Gary can make the miracle happen for us. We'll be in debates if that happens. I will be the only independent candidate, right, on the ballot if that works. No one else can get in the ballot. Only I can. So if we win it, I'm the only guy on the ballot. I'll be in the debates. Awesome. We had a chance of victory. If I get enough push in the write-in campaign to where people are noticing it, to where people are talking about it, I still may be able to get on the debate stage, in which case we have a shot in with a write-in. But if neither of those 2 things happen, our best chance then is making real impact to where there will be a third party in New York State next year, which then can fight to change the rules to let the other parties in. Because right now, no other parties are going to be in New York State. This will be the first time, literally the first time in 80 years that New York State will not have an independent candidate on the governor's line. First time in 80 years. First time. I don't want that to be the answer. So I really think we are going to have to take this to another level. And I think that means if need be, we will then do a write-in campaign. And I'm okay with that. If we have to, we will. So I want to push that idea and make that happen. We've got to raise enough money to pay for our legal fees, raise enough money to pay, to make some of the petitioners whole. I've been making them whole as best I can. Checks went out 2 weeks ago. Checks went out last week. I still have more checks to get out. More petitioners have to be paid. So I still have more of them that I want to try to make whole. Some of you I may not be able to make whole. I think I got most of your W-2s and most of your timesheets. If you didn't get them to me, I can't help you. For those of you who did not do it, I cannot help you. For those you did, I'm going to do my best to make you whole. And I've been doing it. The checks have been going out about every week or two. And some more will go out next week. and we'll go the week after. So I hope to make you whole as soon as I can. But the campaign is in debt, and we're in trouble. However, we're not going to stop. We can't. This is, I know it sounds like hubris, but this is bigger than just us. Literally, if we don't get someone to be on the ballot this year, there will be no independent candidates on the ballot this year or for a generation, because it won't change it. The judges don't care. The Senate and the Assembly clearly aren't doing anything. The governor doesn't care. They don't care. They're not going to change anything. Now, I know some of you are saying, but Larry, some of you people who are Republicans or conservatives are saying, but Larry, look, this is the year that the Republicans can win. Shut up. Stop. Just stop. Well, Zeldin's in strikings. They said exactly the same words last time. It was a lie then. It's a lie now. Please, if you are a Republican or a conservative in this state, stop believing the lie. Just stop. How long are they going to keep smacking you? Who's the only guy who's been here 5 years with real answers trying to fix things? It's not them. It's not them. They've been in charge. So please stop that. The reality of it is we're going to try to make this work to the best of our ability. We're going to rock and roll. If this matters to you, then help me out and like and comment and share this. Let people know what we're doing. Let them know that starting next week, we're going to start, probably maybe even this weekend, maybe, we're going to start pushing a writing campaign for now. Go into court, trying to get this final appeal. Got the best people who possibly can do it. If the appeal works, we will be on the ballot. Life is good, all good. If it doesn't work, we still got the write-in. We can get 130,000 votes in a write-in. It's a challenge. It can be done. We're on the ballot. There is now, there'll be a third party. We will still have a third party in New York State. Otherwise, we're not going to have a third party in New York State. It'll be gone. And, if the Working Families Party goes away or the Conservative Party goes away, so what? They're not real parties anyway. They just follow whatever the Democrats, Republicans do, which they did again this time. That's what they always do. So who cares if they go away? Why do you care? No difference. It's just the people who run a Working Families Party can make money, and conservatives, Kassar, he can make money. He can have Mike Pence show up and charge you $1,000 a plate, put money in his pocket while he just literally robs you. And he's not robbing you because you're actively giving him your money. So defrauding you perhaps, but he's not robbing you. That's true. He's not robbing you. He's not putting a gun in your head. You're thinking you're getting something done, but you're not. I'm actually trying to give you something. I'm actually showing you that I care. If you want to help me out, please do that. You can volunteer. I could use some more volunteers. We're going to have to do a lot of social media coming up here, more than ever. So if you can volunteer, come on by, LarrySharpe.com/volunteer. Let's make this happen. We're rebooting everything next week, rocking and rolling. LarrySharpe.com/shop. You want to buy a t-shirt. You want to buy a lawn sign. Let's keep going. You want to help me out with a donation? Do it. LarrySharpe.com/donate. I'm going to put some more of my own money in again, which I keep doing, but we have to. There's no way around it. We've got to make this happen. We can't surrender now. We just can't. If anything, we have to fight harder now. If they win on this now, the ball game is over. Like, pack your bags and leave New York. Like, it's that bad. Please don't do that. It's not the right answer. Instead, help us out right here. Let me you have a bunch of comments. I appreciate it. I'm going to grab some comments here, as I always do. I hope I was clear. Nate says, I'm on pins and needles. Hope it's good news. I think it's news. It's good and bad. It's both. It's honest, Nate. That's what it is. I gave you the truth. I was transparent. I'm giving you what I think is the right answer for us. I think we have to keep going. I can't see anything else. No other answer except for this. Michael says, let's do this. I'm in. Sam says, fingers crossed. I hope it. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Gregory says, I wish your campaign would have gone well. Me too, but it's not over yet. I'm not done yet. I hope you guys aren't done. I'm still sitting there fighting. Don't abandon me now. Some of you have already abandoned me. No more. No. Yes. Joel says, hired guns screwed you over. That is 100% true, Joel. And the problem is the system is set up for that to work that way. For those who don't know, there's just no way to get all of the petitions done for you to do that. And by the way, I wrote this, literally what I'm going to tell you now. I wrote, and you can see it. It's public documents. I wrote this in my appeal to the judge. I said that a great petitioner will get you 100 signatures a day. That's a great petitioner. He's amazing. An average one will get you somewhere between 25 and 50. That's an average petitioner. So let's say 50, that you can average 50 a day. I mean, that's a lot, but let's say you got that many good people. To do this right, you'd have to get at least 50,000 signatures. You lose a week because it takes you multiple days to prepare all of the physical documents. You have to literally number every single page. The BOE makes you do that. Number every page, check every signature to make everyone sign, find the petitioners to make sure they sign everything. You got to do all of that stuff. Find the witnesses, make sure they're all signed. It takes days to do that and to figure out where to go. So you only actually get 5 weeks. So that's 10,000 per week, 10,000 signatures per week. If you worked 5 days a week, that's 2,000 signatures a day. At 50 per, which is high, that's 40 people. You got to find 40 people to work 5 days a week, 10 hours a day for 5 weeks. Who the hell has those people? Do you have them, Joel? I don't. You got to hire people. And New York State, to make it even harder, won't let you do it per signature. It's per hour. So you get people who show up and don't do anything, and you pay them for the entire day and give you one signature. You got to pay them for the whole day. Now, that didn't happen all the time, and most of our petitioners were good petitioners. But some were chumps and were just scammers. Some were. Some screwed us over. They came over, did nothing, and then submitted paperwork, and we got to pay them. Sucks. Again, I'll be very clear. That was not most petitioners. But when you've got millions of dollars, like the other guys had, you don't care if you lose 10 grand or 20 grand on scammers. When you're me, that's critical money that now I can't travel or I can't do Facebook ads. The guys who screwed me over devastate me. They're whatever, a drop in a bucket for the other guys. This system just screws the little guy over. You're completely correct. And what about my captains? What if they didn't do a good job? I got to pay them too. And they're not getting signatures. And I got to pay them to make sure that stuff's getting done. Things are getting collected. Oh, you're right. And that's the system. In fact, so bad, Zeldin's people put in 11,000 photocopies. Yes, because people do that too, by the way. People will go, say they have signatures, and then give me photocopies. Get signatures, photocopy them, have 2 different people sign them, and give them to me, and now want to get paid for photocopies. Yes, and they're mad too. Like, you got to pay us. You know who you are. You're not getting paid. So you know who you are if you're watching. You're not getting paid. Nothing. Because you gave me fraudulent signatures. You literally gave me photocopies. That happened too. Zeldin put his in. Zeldin was like, oh, good. Photocopies, whatevs. He put his in. So he literally defrauded, ostensibly, he defrauded the government because he knew that it couldn't work. A sitting congressman couldn't do it. So, but again, he walks away, no problems. I'm screwed over trying to do the right thing. So yes, you are correct. I also had captains who promised things they shouldn't have promised. I didn't promise it. They promised it. I didn't promise it. And now I'm holding a bag trying to help out and do the right thing. For those of you who don't know, you might say, Larry, why are you bothering to pay these petitioners? Why don't you just let them go? And some people have told me, Larry, they can't do anything to you. Just let it go. They've told me this. Because if you know most of the people, again, there were some scammers and you can find them if you want to, but most people were not scammers. But most of the people who are doing this, they're doing it because they need the cash. It wasn't like it was a bunch of wealthy people running around just trying to take advantage of me. Those people existed, but they were rare. Most of them are people who need the cash. So I want to try the right thing and try to make them whole to the best of my ability. Do I have to? No, I don't have to. But if I'm going to sit here and talk trash about how I'm trying to help the little guy, I got to step up. So that's why I'm doing it. That's why. So yes. Anyway. All right. Shelly says, this makes you the only candidate that was attacked by every single party. Well, there we go. See? I'm doing something right, I guess. Yes. Rhonda says, I used to be a conservative. I wish you could win them all over. If they listened, they would see you are the answer. I agree, Rhonda. I have never, and those of you who watched me for years, and I mean literally for years now, I've never attacked the Conservative Party ever. I never have. I've never said a bad word about them ever. I've always said we're an ally. In fact, I tried to get them to endorse me in 2018 and again in 2022. Now, I get some people who are very conservative would say, Larry, you're not conservative enough for us. And I'm sure for some people, I'm not conservative enough, so I'm not liberal enough. I got it. I understand that. The issue is whether you're conservative or not, I actually respect you no matter how conservative you are. And I want you to be able to be you as conservative as you want to be. And all my policies encourage people to be themselves, to include as conservative as you want to be. What I won't do is do what Republicans have done and just ignore you And here's the lie they'll tell you. And you conservative people, you know this. The conservative party will tell you, oh, teach the Republicans a lesson. Vote for the Republican on the conservative line. That'll show them. How's that worked for the past 20 years? It hasn't. What it does is supports the conservative party to keep doing the garbage they've been doing. They keep doing bad stuff because you keep voting for them. Stop, Rhonda. I'm glad you stopped. Please tell your friends also stop. Just stop. The Working Families Party and the Conservative Party are just zombie parties who are just ways of getting people to just vote for the same establishment losers and feel better about themselves. Please stop. It's not a thing to do. Yes. Matt says, you tried playing a game that toddler made up. Rules always change when you get close to winning with either team. Time to ignore low governments. Yeah, I think you're kind of right, Matt. I'm trying my best. Absolutely. Yes. Dave says they don't believe it to be true. They think keeping third-party candidates off the ballot helps the candidate the judge supports. I would agree. They don't want that at all. They do not want that at all. It's horrible. The judges don't care. The judges have consistently, Weinstein, Cotto, the other guy from Steuben, the guy from Steuben County walked out saying his words that, again, this is, I couldn't say it wasn't true. This is literally on the record. He walked out saying, well, these rules are to make sure, that people who can't win don't get on the ballot. His words. So if you can't win, you don't get to vote for. How was that constitutional? How was that American? So I only get to vote. Here's the argument I gave to Weinstein. I told Weinstein that this is unconstitutional. I said that it's unconstitutional, and that the greatest protest that any voter can do is to vote against somebody. Apathy, staying home, might mean you don't care, but actively voting against someone, that's literally my freedom of speech. I said that. And then he either didn't understand it. I don't think he's that dumb, but maybe he's dumb. I don't know Weinstein. Maybe he acted dumb, or he's just corrupt. Literally said in his response that I did not mention the unconstitutionality. It's in writing. And in his answer, which told me, you can't be on a ballot, he said, I didn't mention it. Blatant lie. I have no recourse because that's how it works. Literally, he either lied or didn't read or whatever he did. That's what the horrible judge Dave Weinstein did. And it didn't matter. Did it anyway. Yes. Should be impeached. Terrible judge. I hope his career is over soon. And I don't care if he hears it. If you're watching Judge Weinstein, you're a terrible judge. You're a terrible judge. You should resign. You should be impeached. If I win governorship, I will make the moves to get you impeached. How about that? That's what I would do. You're deserving of that. Any case, not just that, him and others have said this. For those you don't know, literally for decades, you would get ballot access every 4 years. For decades. So when I spent the first time in 2018, $500,000, 5 figures of my own money, plus tons of New Yorkers who gave me to get ballot access for the Libertarian Party, they changed the rules within 2 years. Judge Weinstein said, oh, there's no implicit contract. What? If this was a business deal, he would have put me in jail over this. If this is a business deal, he would have charged me double in interest. But now, because it's me and the state, what's more important than the relationship, the citizen and the state? According to them, nothing. The state is all that matters. I'm a citizen. Of course there was an implicit contract. All you judges who said that, five judges said that. Shame on you. If it was any other agreement, you'd be like, yes, absolutely, implicit contract. If it was employee-employer, you'd be like, yes, implicit contract. If it was a contractor, yes, implicit contract. Of course you would say that. But it's me against the state where I drop a year of my life, 5 figures of my money, and $500,000 of other people's money into this. There's no contract yet. Shut up. You're embarrassing. That's up against here in New York State. And I'm not done. You thought you would finish me. Never forget you're dealing with a Marine. As long as I have the means to resist, I will resist. So you screwed up. You thought I was going to go away. Nope. Still here. Still here. Anyway, I'll keep going. So yes. Let's see. Rhetoric says, how culpable would you say Hochul as sitting governor is in all of this? Completely. She could have stopped it. She could have stepped up. She could have said something. She said nothing. She didn't care. Hochul doesn't care. Neither does Eldon. He doesn't care. None of these guys care. If you think they actually care, you're fooling yourself. None of them care. Absolutely. Rodney says, is there a write-in option? Yes, absolutely. We can do that 100%. Absolutely. Yes. Daniel says, government is completely corrupt even at local levels. Well, yeah, that's kind of true. Yes. So, Carrie says, is it Carrie helping you right? This is so effing infuriating. It is. But we're not done. Jason gives me a what the F is wrong with these people. They want power and they want to stay in power. That's what, excuse me, my camera's off here. Sorry, how about that? Is that better? Sorry, someone mentioned my camera's off. Let's see if that's better. Is that better? I hope that's better. So, yes, they want to stay in power, and that's all that matters. And they're staying in power. So, yes. Joel's has been a great writing campaign. I agree. Let's push forward. Let's look, as I said before, it is absolutely possible that we win. Right? We could win. We absolutely could win. We could win the appeal. And if we win the appeal, excuse me, guys, sorry. If we win the appeal, we're on the ballot. I hope we do. And again, we got the best guy to do it. I hope we do. But if we don't, let's fight this way. That's what it's about. The Shamrocker, how are you? Says, I'm so glad you're not giving up, Larry. How can I? What we don't understand, if I give up now and we don't do this, what's the future? And sadly, I guess the part that does on a personal note, the amount of people who just won't hear it. If you watch TV, if you watch any political shows, they're all talking about this, but will do nothing. Bill Maher, Chris Cuomo. Oh, third parties are everything. Chris Cuomo, you live in New York. Your brother's the one who did this. And now all of a sudden you care about third parties? If you do, why am I not in your show? Why aren't you talking about this issue I'm doing right now? Why aren't you talking about I'm the only guy still fighting? Everyone else is giving up. I'm the only independent candidate still fighting. Why haven't you told anybody that? Why haven't you told your friends on CNN? Because you're full of shit is why. That's the reason. You ever watch Rising or Breaking Point? Talk about it every day. Third party, third party, third party. Every day talk about it. I'm here. My team reaches out to them. Nothing. They don't bring me on. Nothing. They don't understand. I say this often. When you want to run as a third party, particularly libertarian, you have to understand a couple of things, which is why I'm not surprised by this. Of course, it bothers me. I'm still human, but I'm not surprised by it. Always remember that no matter how hard you fight, you will have to work twice as hard for half the results. The game will not be fair, and you will have no recourse. That's how it works in third parties. And the average person has no idea. They just go, why don't you just get on the ballot and win? Because it's freaking impossible is why. That's the reason. Because the system is set up to stop us, and you don't know, and you don't care. If you cared, and you would call these people and bother these people, by the way, Rhonda asks, how do we help? I'm going to tell you right now how you help. Bug every one of your local media outlets and any media that you watch, whatever it is, whether you read a newspaper, you listen to it on radio, whether you watch YouTube, whatever you watch regular TV, whatever you do, reach out to them and say, why aren't you covering Larry Sharpe getting thrown off the ballot? I'm not joking. That's how you do it. You want to help out? That's free. Cost you nothing. Any one of the media outlets that you watch or read, reach out to them. If it's a newspaper, you'll send them an email. Maybe you'll comment if they have a presence online. Reach out and say, why aren't you following the fact that Larry Sharpe just got thrown off the ballot? Why aren't you following this? He's the only independent candidate in New York State. He's getting thrown off. The only one. He's getting thrown off. That's the issue. That's how you help. That is how you help. Michael said, what happened to Patrick David from Valuetainment or Joe Rogan or even Kennedy? Don't understand why they can't fight for you. I give you huge props for not giving. I ask that question often, Michael, and it isn't in their best interest, I guess. Or the sad part is, and for those of you who try to do something big, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say if you've done this, it's been in your world. Sadly, most people don't want to help you till you don't need the help anymore. Right? When you've made it, then they all want to be your friend. Well, I already made it. Right? So that's the hard part, right? It's chicken and egg. It's chicken and egg, right? How do I get someone to want to think that I can achieve something? And I think that's the other part that bothered me personally. I had done so well, I thought, in the last time. I was the only guy in New York State to ever do it. And it was New York State. I thought they would know that I could do it. And I'd be clear, what other active candidate has been on any of the big shows? None. I'm the only one. Have libertarians been on Joe Rogan? Yes. Have active running candidates libertarian been on Joe Rogan? Only me. Patrick David. Have any candidates, active running candidates, libertarians been on the show? No. Only me. Glenn Beck. Only me. Dave Rubin. Only me. Now, again, they have other libertarians on, but none who are actively running. Only me. And you're right, Michael. They go, oh, whatever. I guess we'll talk to you later. Whatever. So, yeah, that's what they do. I don't know why. So, yes. Shelly says, we need to go to the streets and ask people why they are allowing this in New York. Ooh, I like that, Shelly. Go to the streets. The people don't know the truth, so we need to ask them why their party has gone gangster. Ooh, why they've gone gangster. I like that. Yes. Liberty says, Larry, the Shamrock, says, Larry is on with Kennedy this week. Yes, I was. Kennedy, but Kennedy didn't want to talk about what I was talking about. So that'll be next time. We'll see how that is. We'll work on that one. We'll have that one. Yes. Okay. Let's see if I can keep going on here. Georgette says, love you. Thank you. We are not done. As I said, we are not done. We are still fighting this thing. We are not done. Absolutely. So let me keep going down here. Rob says, sending support from Michigan. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Let me grab a couple more. Lou, I'm a New York poll worker. I worked last month's primary election. Only 800,000 people voted for Hochul or Zeldin out of 12 million New Yorkers. 90% of New Yorkers don't want the establishment duopoly. Lewis, you brought up a very valid and important point, right? The biggest issue here that we see is that most New Yorkers don't want to vote Democrat or Republican, but they have no choice. So they're forced to, and they can't vote in the primaries. So that means now the primaries are being decided by what, 10% of the population? And that's okay. And that's okay for them. That is a problem. Yes. Shelley says, interview with Russell Brand. He would love this controversy. Shelley, reach out to him. Maybe he'll say, yes, I'm happy to do all these things. Absolutely. Yes. Andrew says, Zeldin's campaign was deliberate. It was organized fraud. Wow. I like that, Andrew. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So, Chris Linsky says, Sarah did it with unpaid volunteers. It can be done. Bullshit, Chris. You don't know that to be true. You don't know that to be true. You think that's true. It might be true, but you don't know that to be true. And I brought this up in court. And I said, I went right to the BOE. Again, this is documented, not made up. You can check it. It's public. They said, well, someone made it. I said, did you check the signatures? I asked in court. He went, well, no. So how do you know she made it? Well, they don't know. They never counted. They didn't check. Now, I know Sarah. I happen to like her. I like her. But how do I know she didn't pull a Zeldin and have 30,000, I don't know, photocopies? I'm not very clear. I'm saying Zeldin did because they checked Zeldin. They know that's true. I don't know if Diane did it or not. Not saying she did, not saying she didn't. But your comment is incorrect. You don't know that to be true. She could have 30,000 photocopies. They could be fraudulent signatures. I don't know either way. But why didn't they check her? Because hers is not a ballot access race. So if she were to become the next senator, I hope she does. I'd rather have her than Schumer. But if she becomes the next senator, it doesn't change anything. She becomes a senator, good for her. But it helps nobody else in this state. No one's helped in this state except that she's a senator. Good for her if she makes it. If she does well, good for her. But no one is helped in this state. So while that's nice, good for her. I hope she makes it. How does it help you? How does it help me? Chris, how does that help you? It doesn't. What matters is if we keep third parties active in this state. That matters. This narrative is irrelevant and not misleading. This narrative is accurate. You are incorrect. You are making an assumption. I'm not. I'm telling you what we know versus what we don't know. So I don't know what she's saying. I know what Zeldin and the rest of them did. That I'm sure of. So yes. Thomas says, great Friday night with Larry Sharp. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying my best. Yes. All right. Angela says, we are outnumbered and surrounded. This is true, but it doesn't mean we're finished. Right? It doesn't mean we're finished. It means we still have a shot at making change. Look, two things to remember. Assume number one, if we win this appeal, and again, we got the best guy to do it. If we win this appeal, and I hope we do, it will be a shock. All of a sudden, I'm the only independent candidate on the ballot. If I'm on the ballot independent candidate, I will get just people who don't like the two 100,000 votes just on that. Just because I don't know who this Larry Sharp guy is, but I hate these guys. So I'm going to get 100,000 of those votes. Plus all the other votes I'm going to get. We're going to get at least 3 to 4 to 500,000 votes at least. Even if I don't get into the debates. I get in debates, this becomes a winnable race. It's a winnable race if I get in debates. If I don't get in debates, we'll still get 2, 3, 400,000 votes. Easy. Easy. When that happens, they can't ignore me. Last time I only got 100,000 and others got more than me. I was ignorable and they ignored me. I get it. This time I won't be. I won't be. If we actually get a writing campaign and we get party status on a writing campaign, what an amazing story that is. They can't ignore me. And if they can't ignore me, we can change New York. That's the issue. If they can't ignore me, we can change New York. And we can now begin to get others on the ballot locally. Now, you guys might say, Larry, why do I care if you get the Libertarian Party on the ballot? Because that means there will be an independent party on the ballot that you can now join and you can run locally. City council, mayor, county legislator, whatever it is, the party will exist on the ballot and you can run as a libertarian if you want to, realistically, and have support and have people behind you and have an infrastructure. How do I know that? Because in 2019, it happened. 107 victories in 2019. I talked the talk and then I walked the walk and the state took it all away. I'll talk to again and I will walk the walk again. So yes, absolutely. So Angela says, oh, and we'll never abandon you. Like, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Paula says, you may not be conservative enough for me, but your enthusiasm, integrity, and plans for New York and really the rest of the country won me over. Oh, thank you. You and Gary Johnson pulled me away from the GOP once more. Gary Johnson was a great man. I wish he was a better candidate. I would have voted for him and I would vote for him again if he ran. I wish he was more powerful in that regard. But I like him very much. Yes, I like him very much. Yes. Dave says, well, a Republican can't win a statewide race in New York. Why are they on the ballot? I literally put that also in my comments. I actually said that. Yes, I absolutely. Patty says, keep telling the truth about what they are doing to third parties. Do shows with Andrew Yang. Discuss everything you said here. Explain it all. People from all sides will listen and join the fight. I keep saying bring common people together with common sense, common courtesy, and a common cause. Oh, I like that, Patty. I may steal that from you. Common sense, common courtesy, and common cause. It's very good. Once we get to know each other, we will stand up, then game over for them. I like that. Very good. Yes, I like that. All right. Let's see here. Thomas says, quote, if I can't have cream, I'll eat poop. Some conservative. Well, kind of. Yeah, that's kind of true. Yes, absolutely. That's true. Yes. Daniel says, I know you're mad, bro, but fire like that, I'll make moves if I win. Governors will get you impeached, makes you sound like them. It's a good point, Daniel. It's a valid criticism. But I'm angry. And sometimes I say things when I'm angry. It's true. I mean, one of the reasons why I didn't do a show earlier is because I was still holding so much anger. I didn't want to be that guy, if that makes any sense. But then how do we change that, Daniel? How do we change it when it's not just one guy, but it's an entire system full of judges who have forgotten? And again, I said, this is on the record. I said, Judge, when the people are in trouble and a legislature is doing the wrong thing and there's overreach, our only recourse is a judge. We come to you to save us, to defend us from this. I told him that. If not you, there's nobody. Then there is no check on a legislature if you won't check them. There is no check. And he said, I can't check them. Daniel, what do you do when literally the judge who is supposed to be the check on legislature won't check legislature? I feel like impeach is the answer. But your point's well taken. Point taken, Daniel. I will take criticism. Point taken. Point taken. So yes. All right. Let's see here. John says, who was the sitting Congress you reference? Yes, it is literally Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin tried to get in the ballot and he couldn't do it either. So yes, absolutely. So Michael says, letters to the editor is an option. Yes. 100% yes. Absolutely. Jamie said, we should petition Joe Rogan to have you back on. Jamie, yes. 100%. 100% yes. Phil says, do you have a fresh press release we can share? We will have one soon coming out. Yes, absolutely. There we go. Craig Miles says, McAllister is the honorable judge in Steuben County. Yes, so I got McAllister who says, well, no, the goal of this is just to make sure if you can't win, you can't be on the ballot. How does any judge think that's okay? And he thinks that doesn't matter. There's no contract between me and the state. That's McAllister from Steuben County, another terrible judge. And then we got Kodal. I forgot where he was from, another terrible judge who says things like, well, this easy. It's easy. Modicum of support. It's fine. 7% is not enough for him, I guess. Yeah, and then Weinstein, who literally just says, oh, Larry, totally wrong. I can't check the legislature. I'm just a judge. Who can check the legislature when you're a judge? And then uses precedent to say it's okay. When my argument, again, if any of you care, if any of you are geeks, you can check this. This is public record. I said literally to him, the other judges should not have said this because the data isn't out. I actually brought up Brown versus Board of Education. I brought up separate but equal, right? When Plessy versus Ferguson came out, they were like separate but equal was okay. It'll be fine. That's what they all thought. Then they realized over time, no, the data is in. Separate is not equal. So let's change it. I told the judge, okay, before we saw that nobody made it. Now we have data. A multimillionaire couldn't make it. I couldn't make it. A guy polling at 7% can't make it. A sitting congressman can't make it. It's impossible. There is no gubernatorial candidate independent in this state this year for the first time in 80 years. The data's in. The only thing that's changed is the system. The system's bad. Nope, can't do it. So I'm not sure I would go with honorable, but I would, I guess, because I have to. So I would. Yes. Paula says, in the immortal words of Lenny Kravitz, ain't over, baby, till it's over. That's true. Absolutely. Kyle says that the reason why third parties don't win is because people are stupid. I always hear I don't want to waste my vote, and I always tell them that the only wasted vote is for a person you agree with. Look, I get that sentiment. I do. I'm going to give you what to think about when it comes to this specific situation. I don't agree with it, obviously. But we've been doing what we've been doing for 20 years. A full generation. If it's not fixed by now with this system, it's not going to be fixed, right, with this system. Let's change. What happens if you vote Republican and instead of losing by 15 points, he loses by 13 points, whatever, or by 20 points, loses by 18 points? Well, the Republican comes in second. Again, that's been happening for 20 years. And what's been happening to New York State for 20 years? Thank you. Be the same thing. So, absolutely. So, Sam says, dear Larry/team, please make a short clip from this so we can share the corruption with our local media. Done and done, Sam. We will work on that. Absolutely, yes. 100%. Yes, we will do that. There we go. All right. Let's see here. John says, have you seen the Tim Pool billboard in Times Square? We need to put up there. How about writing Larry Sharp? You know what? I'll have the team look into that. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Yes, absolutely. Jeff says, Dave Rubin and Glenn Beck are sort of gross, though. I don't think so. I happen to like Glenn Beck. Dave Rubin and I aren't very close. Glenn Beck, I like Glenn Beck. So I don't know Dave Rubin very well. But I don't. I went on Sam Cedar's show, and Sam Cedar actively doesn't like libertarians at all. He is like a libertarian killer. And I went on his show. I will go on anybody's show. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Phil says, can we do a writing campaign? I think we should work on that right now and just keep moving on. Yes. And as will you still be in Penn Yan August 20th? I believe yes. I think I'm there. I'm going to be in something this weekend. And then again, yeah, I'm doing some traveling. I have to. So I'm going to be back out again. We'll be doing some traveling. So I have to. Yes, 100%. Yes. So, all right. Sam says, proof positive of the brain drain in New York. If winning is the standard for ballot access, why is there more than one party in the ballot? 100%. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Keep going down here. Patty says, letters to the editor of New York Publications. Yes, I like that. Exactly right. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Oh, Chris, you're mad. Oh, I don't want to put Chris' stuff up because he's got curse words in it. But Olensky's mad. Chris, if you think I'm wrong, good. Why are you here? Go hang out on her page. If you think I'm wrong, okay, go hang on her page. I don't mind. Do what you feel is best. I'm not mad at you. You want to go? I would put your stuff up, but you put curse words in it. So I don't want to put the curse words up. So, but yes, don't put curse words in it. so yes. Any case, but if you're mad, go hang out with her. If maybe she's gonna save New York State. Maybe she will. I have nothing against her whatsoever. Go hang out with her. I don't mind. Good luck. All good. So yes. Jeff says any real Republican should vote Larry, and I agree. If Larry gets in debates, he'll wipe the floor with him. I think that's right. Absolutely. I agree with you completely, Jeff. Dave says it's so sad you are more competent than most that are in charge of New York, and that they pull this dirty-handed tactics to ensure that either Dems or Republicans will win. Keep at it, Larry. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. I am still trying. I'm still doing my best to make that happen. Patty goes on to say, attempt the Daily Show with Trevor Noah. He is open-minded. What's the worst that could happen? I agree. I will go. If you have some insight, I will go on any show. Absolutely. 100%. Yes. 100%. Andrew puts on most of those 107 videos in 2019 were cross-endorsed. That's correct. I think there, if I remember right, Andrew, you might know better. If I'm not mistaken, I think we had like 8 that were only libertarian, or 9 in that area. It was around 10. I'm not sure exactly what the number was. It was around 10 who were only on libertarian line. The rest were cross-endorsed. Now, why does that matter? Because if you have a viable third party, what winds up happening is the other parties, if they want to win, to get those extra votes, they will have to move towards liberty, right? Democrats are supposed to be about civil liberties. I mean, they're not, but they're supposed to be. So if they want to get the libertarian line, they're going to have to move towards civil liberties. Republicans are supposed to be about small government, less taxes. They're not, but they're supposed to be. So if they want libertarians, they're going to have to move towards that. So you will have libertarians running, and you will have better Democrats and better Republicans. You will have better of both, right? That's the key. You'll have better of both of them. That's what. So you're totally correct, Andrew. Thank you for that clarification. Yes. So, all righty. Let's see here. Have you considered going on Kerberos Media? I don't know Kerberos. I don't know Kerberos Media. I don't know. I would be happy to go on any of these, guys. If you have any connections, please. I mean, I'm happy to jump on these. We have to keep doing this. We have to keep moving forward. I don't want to end this, right? I don't want to end this. So it's important. So, all right. Grab a couple more of these if I can. But thank you for all the comments, guys. I really appreciate this. Ryan says, yes, more libertarians infighting, please. Look, libertarians fight. I hate that we do. I do. I hate that we do. At the same time, look, we do. The advantage of being libertarian, well, there are many disadvantages. The advantage is we have actual policies and actual, principles that we're trying to move forward with. We're not just, well, Biden's awesome, or well, Trump is awesome. You might like Biden, you might like Trump. Okay. But that shouldn't be the party, right? The party should be bigger than Trump, bigger than Biden at any given time. I know the Libertarian Party is bigger than me, right? I can call myself king of libertarians if I want to. I'll be laughed off the stage, right? Clearly I'm not. Chris is yelling at me right now, libertarian. So clearly I'm not that. And I'm okay with that. So there will be some infighting. So that's kind of the price you pay for having principles and not having one guy or gal being, I am the state or I am the Senate, right? That's why we have that. So, yeah. So, 2N37 says, Larry should write a book telling the story of this campaign. Yes. I think I will next year. I agree. I think I will. Why not? Yes, I think I will. Absolutely. So, all righty. Lil J says, we need the left to go far left. I mean, workers' strikes and boycotts against corrupt government. Yeah. It's not a bad idea, right? It's not a bad idea to do those types of things. The problem is it's hard to ask somebody, right? It's hard for me to ask you, Lil J, hey, go on strike because the government's bad when you got bills to pay. Now, I hope that you are well off, Lil J, and if you miss a couple weeks or a couple months of work, that you'll be fine. I hope that's the world you're in. A lot of people aren't. And for me to now ask you to do that is a lot to ask of you. And then what if it's your career? It's a lot to ask of you, is all I'm saying. Do I think it's a good idea? Yeah. Look, I don't work when I do this. I just go into debt. I go into debt when I do this. This is what I do. But I volunteered to do this, right? I put myself in a position and I volunteered to do this. You guys didn't ask me to do it. I volunteered to do this, right? So I don't mind that. Lil J, if you and a bunch of guys are in a good spot and you can afford to just, strike and such, I think it's a great idea. I'm not prepared to ask someone to sacrifice their livelihood to fight against the massive government that we have that will probably crush you anyway, right? If I was the governor, I would ask you, because then I could pardon you. Then I could assist you if you get into trouble. Right now, I have no power to assist you if you get into trouble. I hope that makes sense. I'm agreeing with you. I just don't want to ask you to do that because I don't know what your world situation is. I don't want you to put your family at risk because you want to do this. I mean, if you want to, go ahead, but I don't want to ask that. I hope I'm clear on this issue. Andrew says, yes, less than 10. That's what I thought. Yes, I knew it was around 10. Thank you, Andrew, for that clarity. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. So Dave goes on to say, thank you for what you're doing, Larry. I'm trying. I am trying. Absolutely. Yes, I am trying. So Jason says, I should use a book about happiness right now. Oh, all right. I hear you. I should be working on the book. I am. The problem is I put the book on happiness out. I put 5 chapters out as a test and almost no one responded to it. So I thought, I guess nobody likes it. So I kind of let it go because I thought, okay, people don't want it, right? People weren't like, oh my God, Larry, I can't wait for the next chapters. They were like, yeah, no one responded. And then after I said no one responded, then people responded going, Larry, it was great. Well, then why didn't you tell me it was great? And then I would have pushed on to finish the book. But the response I gave about 200 copies of the first 5 chapters of the book last year. And no one seemed to care. No one liked it. Oh, they did. They didn't tell me, I should say. Then eventually after they were like, where's the rest of the book? I'm like, you didn't tell me you wanted the rest of the book. So I just put it on hold. No, Larry, I like the book. Got it. Yeah. Anyway. So yes. I hope that answers your question at least, but yes, absolutely. All right. Let's see here. Angela goes on and says, the problem with all parties is that they don't have a real moral compass. For the Libertarian Party to succeed, we have to show that we have a moral compass based on real truth, not feelings. I agree, Angela. And it's one of the things you'll see me constantly do. And I hope I do it enough is I try my best to be as transparent as possible. I believe in my heart that we should, I'm saying should, that we as a nation, we should respect our institutions. We don't. The institutions have given us many reasons to not trust them. So it's their fault for doing it. But in my perfect world, would I like us to trust our institutions? Of course I would. I want us to. I think it's a good idea. But how can we? The only way to trust institutions, and it will take literally years to do, is complete transparency for years. And then eventually, when we see transparency, the good and the bad, over years, we will begin to trust our institutions again. I'm trying to walk the walk while I talk the talk. I'm being transparent. I'm hoping that as I fail and succeed, you will go, okay, you know what? I may disagree. I'll be angry at Larry or not like this thing he did. But the guy's not lying to me, at least. I can trust what he's saying. When he does stuff, it makes sense with where his head was at the time or what he was thinking, at least. I get it. I can judge him effectively because I know what he's thinking and where he's going. I'll take that. I mean, I'm not perfect. No one is. But if I ever take some position, I hope when Daniel says stop yelling about impeaching people, that he'll understand why I said it and why I'm angry and why I feel bad about it. And he'll know that I'm just human. So yes, absolutely. Josh says, seems like New Yorkers are boycotting by leaving. This is so on point, Josh. And again, I wish you were wrong, but you're right. And it's not changing. New York City's commercial occupancy rate is still under 50% of what it was before the COVID lockdowns. Under 50%. That's not good. It's not good. If people aren't coming back to New York City, it's a problem for the state. That's a problem for the state. And the state itself, I mean, if you ask realtors, these are realtors, They're saying they're losing like we'll lose like a 1,000 a day, like we'll lose 300,000 a year, like that. And they may be right. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they're saying. So, they may be exaggerating because they're realtors and they see that, and then maybe they're also marketers. Who knows? I don't know if their data is true, but that's what they're saying. If that's true, even close to true, say it's only 200,000 a year. 200,000 a year? 5 more years, another million people gone. We've already lost a congressperson. If this keeps going, we're gonna lose a second or third one by the next census. We're gonna lose 2 by the next census. People are emptying out of the state. And we have a $220 billion budget. What I hear all the time, if you happen to see me on my Sam Cedar interview, he's all like, oh my God, underfunded. New York State's not underfunded. A $220 billion budget. California, with twice our population, has a $300 billion budget. Twice the population, but only another half bigger. Florida, with more than us, has half our budget. And no state income tax. One thing we're not is underfunded. When it comes to per capita spending across the United States, per capita spending, only Alaska spends more per capita, and Alaska writes a check to their people every single year from the oil reserves. So Alaska spends more, but writes their people a check every year. New York doesn't write you a check every year, and we spend the most. Take away Alaska, we are the most spend per capita. Yes, only 19 countries have a larger budget than us. Countries, one state, California, and 19 countries. There are almost 200 countries in the world. So that's what, 180 countries that have a lower budget than us, than our state. So yeah, you're right. And as more people leave, that budget keeps going up with people leaving. That's not good. That's not good. Absolutely. So Daniel says, seems like libertarians are the truest to their constitution despite their bickering. Allowing for space for peaceful divergence of thought and lifestyle inherently invites fighting over principles, but it's the rules of ring that. Oh yes, you're correct, right? I mean, there are many libertarians who are so hardcore that the Constitution is too much, right? But many of them, most libertarians would say, look, if we just go back to the Constitution, we're good. Like we'll take that. We're good. We'll take the Constitution. We'll take that, right? We'll go there. Some would want to go further, but they would at least take that. I agree. And it does make us fight. Yes. Is it Arian? Says, in November, my vote for governor will be counted twice. Okay. One for the Democrat and one for the Republican, because a vote for Larry is a vote for Zeldin and Hochul. That's true. Absolutely. That is true. A vote for me is, yeah, absolutely. Yes. 100%. Yes. Phil says, you lost the congressperson, but kept AOC. Point taken, Phil. You're absolutely right. Yes. 100%. Absolutely. That's very funny. Little J goes on and says, will New York be the first to be bankrupt and inflation? No, Illinois will be first. Illinois, believe it or not, New York has 2 advantages over Illinois. One of our advantages is finance. Finance is huge still in New York State. That's going away. They're moving to San Francisco, Austin, and Miami. So they are packing up and leaving. Dallas too. Sorry, Dallas also. So 2 different cities in Texas, 1 in Florida. I always thought Florida that it would be Orlando that was going to take New York's finance. I'm surprised that it's Florida. I thought it would be Orlando, but it's Florida right now that's taking most of the finance out of New York's state. So those are huge numbers that we put up, and people live there, and that's a huge part of our taxation. So Illinois does not have that, nowhere near that. So that's our advantage. Illinois will be the first to go under. Illinois is first. Eventually, New York's like going to be like 8th or 7th or 8th. There's one state like Kansas, maybe Kansas, that's also in big trouble. I'm not sure. I think it's Kansas is in big trouble, but Illinois is the worst. They're going to go under first. So then we'll follow behind them. So yes. Azim says, I can understand that taxes are a necessity, but I get sick and tired of paying payroll taxes for endless wars and coups and still have to pay for my health insurance. Azim, you make a very valid point. The average libertarian doesn't like taxes at all. However, the average American is not against taxation. The average American is against wasted taxes. If the average American believed that their taxes were being spent wisely, if they believed they were getting what they wanted, they'd be happier. I think you're right, Azim. Most Americans feel that their taxes are being wasted. If you look at why some of the countries in Scandinavia are happier, many of them heavily taxed because while they're heavily taxed, they're getting exactly what they're looking for, right? So they have a semi-welfare state for their poorer people, but by percentage in those areas, one or two things are true. They either have a sovereign fund in the case of Norway that pays for most of these things. So Norway has a massive sovereign fund, the biggest sovereign fund in the world that pays for a lot of that. So that helps the taxpayer isn't paying for their welfare state. So it's a whole lot cheaper when you have socialism works very well when you add capitalism. Norway has done that very well. Singapore has also done that very well. So some states that are more socialistic add capitalism and then it works. They've done that very well. Or they actually tax their poorer people at a higher rate. So the poor people by percentage actually pay more. It's almost like a reverse a taxation that we have in America because they're getting more, so they're paying more. The wealthy in those states aren't getting as much because they're not using the system as much, so they actually pay by percentage less. So we have to change a lot on how we work. And we're paying for health insurance because of government intervention. Government intervened during World War II and wouldn't allow increases in salaries and in wages because that wage always works when you control wages and prices. Always works, right? With the exception of every single time, it always works, right? With that minor exception of always. It always works. So, of course, there were problems. So they started doing health insurance through the companies as a way of getting around the government sanction. What? Companies get around government punishment? And that's why we have the health insurance problem we have now because of that. Absolutely. So, yes. All right. Chemo says, why does New York believe they have the right to tax cannabis? Will it lead to less potholes or more stadium giveaways? It will lead to more potholes and more stadium giveaways, both. You are correct, Kimon. My plan, if you noticed, for cannabis, something to realize, which people don't talk about. Too much taxation by default encourages the black market. That's how it works. Is there a level of taxation people will take that will not encourage the black market? In 2018, my team did an actual study on this. And they came up with, and I'm not sure whether you believe my team or not. I don't really care if you do, but this is what we believe. The team came up with the idea about 3%. That if you taxed cannabis at about 3%, no more than that, that would not encourage a black market. If you go past 3%, it begins to encourage a black market. We're at like 20%. So yeah, California's like at 20%. We're officially like 13 plus then there's local or something. So we're going to be high. We're going to keep a black market, just like California will, right? Or does. And even Colorado has a black market. I thought the goal of legalizing cannabis was to not have a black market. So with my plan, I talk all the time, cannabis should be regulated like any other plant. I always say like onions, whatever. Tax it exactly the same as onions. Whatever that is, do that. Or tomatoes, carrots. Chemo, you pick the vegetable. Let's tax it like that thing. Just do that. And we're done. That's the whole thing. You have whatever. Plan for tax for tomatoes. Cross off tomato, write in cannabis, law done. That's it. Right? That's what I would do. The reason why we're doing this is to make sure that cronies win. Big business wins and little farmers lose. That is what's going to happen. That is what is happening. And we have an Office of Cannabis Management, which is not a thing. We should not have that, but we do. I completely agree with you. It will be more potholes and more stadium giveaways. It will not help us at all. The legalization of cannabis is going to hurt us in the long run. Short run, there'll be a little bit of a boon. As small guys try to get in, they will get bought out and crushed, and then the big guys will win. That's what will happen. So, yes. There we go. Henry says, since I live in the Chicago area, what kinds of things can be done to save Illinois? Sadly, I haven't spent much time studying Illinois. I wish I could give you a better answer. I know New York, and I have tons of policies on that. I would hope you would copy some of the ideas I have for New York. I just don't know if they'll actually fit. I would go to LarrySharp.com if you really care, Henry. Look at my policies there and see what could connect. So, yes. So, Gene says, I think Norway's fund for healthcare is roughly what our national debt is. I may be mistaken about that number. Not true. The Norway's fund is about $1 trillion, a little more, $1.5 trillion, maybe. Our debt's 30 trillion. So yeah, no, our debt is 30 trillion. Gene, Norway's healthcare, Norway's entire fund is only about 1.2 or 1.3, something like that trillion, which is nowhere near our $30 trillion debt. So yeah, but compared to their population, you're right. There's only 5 million people in Norway. There's 330 million in our country. So compared to population, you're probably correct. but the actual number, no, it's only about a trillion, 1 point something trillion. That's it. So yes. Josh says a cannabis tax exemption should be called a pothole. Nicely done. Very nice. Nicely done. Absolutely. So little Jay says, if you want affordable housing, then we need to start interlocking and introduce new materials, clay, brick, mud bricks, hempcrete. Hempcrete 100%, but also, as I said before, rent to own is the answer. If you really want to get people caring, rent to own is the key. Rent to own is everything. That's a critical piece. Guys, what I want to say is if you like what you're hearing, if it matters to you, if you think it matters, then like and comment and share. In addition, we're not done. If you're still on board, here's what I'm going to ask you. Several things I'm going to ask you to do. Number one, I'm going to ask you to go to any news that you watch or you read or you listen to. If it's in the radio, reach out to them and say, why aren't you covering Larry Sharpe getting thrown off the ballot? Whether that's an email, call in if it's a radio show, whatever it is. Send them an email, whatever. Comment in the YouTube. If you watch a YouTube news show, comment, why aren't you covering this? And I mean to every single one you watch. And I mean every week. I'm serious. If you want to help, that is a way. Do that. Whatever you watch, whatever you read, why aren't you covering Larry Sharpe getting off the ballot? There's going to be no independent candidates in New York State. Why aren't you covering this? Why aren't you covering Larry Sharpe and there's no independent candidates in New York State? Do that. That matters so much. Second, any of the shows you guys talked about. Do you watch Joe Rogan? Do you watch Dave Rubin? Whatever you watch, whatever cool shows you watch, that Carabas, did I say it right? Carabas Media, whatever, any Valuetainment, whatever you watch that, reach out to them. Why aren't you having Larry Sharpe on? Have Larry Sharpe on. Bug them every other day. I'm not joking. It is free. It helps me tremendously. And I don't care what it is. Trevor Noah. Yes, I'm in 100%. He's in New York. Let's do, yes. Yes to any or all of them. Whether you like them or not, I don't care. I'm happy to be in all of them. And of course, if you can pick up a shirt, if you can pick up a mug, if you can pick up a lawn sign, no matter what happens, guys, if we win our appeal coming up here, and again, we have the best guy to do it. Props to Gary Denoyan. He's done it before. If anybody can do it, it's him. We got the guy to do it. If we can do it, then we'll be in the ballot. If we can't, we'll do it right in anyway. We can't just end this. It's the wrong answer. We have to show that we won't stop fighting. If we stop fighting, they win. If we keep fighting, at least they know we kept fighting. And if we get on the ballot, we now have a third party that can function in this state. And now they can ignore us, which means we will be able to change the rules back to get a brand new forward party, green party, conservative party, whatever party. We can change the rules to get all the cool parties back on. The rent's too damn high party. Yes, we can do it what it's supposed to be. We're supposed to have freedom of choice. We're supposed to have things that we're supposed to be able to vote our conscience, and we can't right now. We can change that. If I don't get in the ballot, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. If I don't make the numbers, it's not going to happen. I hope you support me and think libertarians are awesome. I hope you do. But you can ask other people. If you have any other friends who are Green Party guys, Conservative Party guys, whatever, tell them how important this is. And they go, Larry, this is the most important election of the world. I hear that every time. Zones in striking range. They said exactly the same words in 2018. Exactly the same words. They were lying then and they're lying now. Only one of two things is going to happen. Kathy Hochul's going to win, or I'm going to win. That's it. The odds are very high. Kathy Hochul's going to win because they throw me off the ballot. I got it. Okay. So then what's the next thing if she wins? Well, the Republican comes in second, or I come in second. The Republican comes in second. That's been happening for 20 years, and that's what we've been getting. But if I come in second, this state changes. This state change. We got a shot. They got to pay attention. The only way we have change is if this happens. That's the most important piece. You want to help me directly? Donate. Donate so I can travel. Donate so I can get the lawsuit paid for. The lawsuit's going to cost me 5 figures. Whatever you can give. Whatever you can give. If you can give $1,000, if that's where you are, Lil J, you're in a spot where you can actually quit your job for a bit. You got some cash, throw it my way. If you're not in that spot, no worries. I just gave you 3 or 4 things you can do that are free, right? I don't know where you are in this world. Some of you are doing well, some not so well. It's okay, wherever you are right now in your life. If you're not doing so well right now in your life, I gave you 3 or 4 ways you can help without spending a dime. If you're in a good spot financially right now, throw me a couple bucks. I need it. As much as you can throw. You can give me up to $44,000. Lil J, if you got that kind of money, I'm happy to take it. That'll pay for my lawsuit. That'll pay for my lawsuit. Done. That will pay my lawyers. We're done if you do that. So if you got that kind of money, please give it if you can. If you can't, I gave you 3 ways of doing it without having to spend any money. It does matter. This is the stuff that really does matter. I'm trying to make this work. You see I'm not done. I mean, you see I'm not done, right? I hope you see that. So yes. All right, let me see if I can grab a couple of these. Found this online. Norway spends 11.3% of GDP on healthcare, placing it among the top healthcare spenders in the world. That amounts to about 43 billion. Yes, that is a lot. However, again, they also have a fund, Grace, which also helps to pay for that. So yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes. All right. Grace says on Fox News personalities page now. That's good too. Yes, I love that. 100%. Yes, let's do that. I love it. All right. Let's see if I can do this one. Joe says the 44K limit still apply. It does, because I'm running for governor, so it still does apply. Yes, I know, Joe, you're about to give me 45,000. You were about to. You better write me a check for 45,000. Don't do it. You'll get me in trouble. Just do 44,000. Yes, correct. Yeah, because I am still running for governor. That hasn't changed. So the rules are still there. So I have to follow the same rules. So yes. Gene says, I liked, commented, and shared. Yes, that's the piece. Thank you so much. So important. Absolutely. Yes, I do appreciate it. Michael says $50 sent PayPal from Ohio. Thank you, my friend. Every little bit counts. 100%. Yes. Shelly says, ask every law school to give their comment on this issue. Ooh, Shelly, look how savvy you are. So good. Yes. Ask law schools to give their comment on this issue. Yes. That is a great idea. I appreciate it. That's really good. So awesome. So guys, I want to say thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate it. We are going to be rocking and rolling even more. We're not done. We're going to keep going. Stay with me if you can. I hope you can. Support me if you can. I hope you can. We'll be having a lot more stuff coming out this weekend and also next week. 3 months to make this work. I will see you all very soon.